CrossFit Mayhem Independence. This is third sanctional this season or fourth?
Fourth for Independence.
Technically.
Okay, so what, for those who've been around the whole way, what have you learned along this sort of different kind of season?
Man, I mean, it's been like a storm of different kind of stuff happening. Like, Independence was at Wadapalooza, but I wasn't on it yet. And then after that, I joined. And it's been kind of like a new set of teammates every time. So that's been like a constant change, but we've just been kind of going with the flow, working out the kinks, and I don't know, just trying to get better as we go.
Learning from each sanctional.
Yeah.
What have been some of the, you think, like, the biggest competitive lessons that you've learned? And you can speak to this from as an individual side too, that you've learned over the course of the season. Because it's been going on now 7 months or something.
Been a long season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing we just talked about today was the importance of staying in your lane, having a game plan. Unlike individual, you can't make big radical changes to the workout, like mid-workout. Like if you're an individual and you decide, I feel good, I want to touch and go this or send that, you just do it. But when you're trying to steer the whole team at once, it's like that's where errors come. You try and a couple of nerves on a worm or something like that, or the pace changes, you can't adapt to that straight away. It ripples out. So it's important that you just stick to your game plan and trust that other teams will try and do that or panic and they'll fall apart. And then, smooth as fast. We always say that.
Yeah.
And when we stick to the game plan, we do really well. Even on the WODs, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
And then when we left from our game plan to try and capitalize on a win or something, it kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
Because it's once you go off the tracks, it's so much effort to bring that train back on. It's too many heads, too many people at once to steer. You can't. Just change route like you can as an individual.
Now you have some games experience on the team previously, and an individual last year. How did you get involved in the main team? We can tell from your accent you're from a little further than Cookeville, Tennessee. So how did that process kind of unfold?
So basically, I was on Rich's program, the Mayhem Athlete program, since I got back from the games in 2016 when I wanted to go individual. And I made the games last year. I just sent Rich a text, Instagram message and said, hey, I'm a Mayhem athlete, I just made the games. Rich was like, that's awesome, coming out to Tennessee, come train with us before the games and we'll hang out. And then so I got to know all the Mayhem guys through there and just been in contact the whole kind of next year. And then I popped over there. Well, I saw them again at Wadapalooza. I popped over there to do the Mayhem for Mustard Seed comp. Me and Craig Ritchie, we teamed up and we did with the celebrity teams, they called it. Rich had a normal division for the guys who wanted to sign up, and then all the teams did a celebrity division. And then a couple of weeks later, maybe a month later, Rich messaged me and said, hey, can you jump in on the Rogue Invitational for the team? They needed someone to fill in. One of the boys that was busy and couldn't make it, and just went from there.
That's cool. So everybody who's actually going to watch this interview, the key takeaway is send Rich Froning a text message and tell him you're on his programming, and then...
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Three steps to massive success is just get on Rich's program, make the CrossFit Games, and then you're in.
Very good.
Send him a DM.
Yeah, send him a DM. It's really easy.
Now, did you do Rich's programming when you qualified in 2018?
In 2018, yeah. So I've been on Rich's program Monday through Sunday since the day after the games in 2016. We got back in August. The games were back in July back then. Spent a week in Vegas. Got back in August and was on Rich's program from the 1st of August pretty much.
That's really cool, and I'm not going to fact check this, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it as if it's totally true that you're probably the only individual games athlete who has used remote programming from a games athlete and qualified. I don't know if that's totally true.
I think if you technically say
they've got
anyone who's
from a current competing games athlete.
Well,
Scott Panchik has programming, Ben Smith has programming, and Chris Hinshaw's programming. He's not a games athlete.
Michelle Laton has
programming.
I think at the time it was the only program that wasn't programmed by someone who called themselves a coach, who wrote the program for people. The Mayhem Athletes developed a lot since then, and Rich does have those programs now, but back then it was literally called What's Rich Doing, and it was this is what I'm doing, do it too, there's some notes and stuff, but it wasn't if Rich was my coach, what would he program for me? Call him up and ask what are my strengths and weaknesses. So, and I think at the time as well, the podcast, I think Elliot said it was the first remote Mayhem athlete to make the games too.
That's super cool. This is really unique. So this is the final sanctional of the season, right? And so it's kind of, Tommy Marquez called it last chance saloon. And what would it mean to walk away after such a long season? You competed, you've been competing the whole time, to walk away with an invite here at the last sanctional.
I thought it was a dream come true just being on the team. That would make it even.
I mean, that would be everything after everything we've been through.
Yeah.
It would be a lot.
Really hard.
So far, yeah. I mean, the weekend is going really well. I think as a team, especially Carolyn's killing it. Just coming in on a team, it's been amazing the way we've come together, and we're just kind of learning as we go, and just coming together even more. So, I mean, it would be just everything.
Carolyn's a good choice though, because she's an individual athlete, individual caliber, but she's been a team athlete her whole life. So she's the perfect fit for someone.
She knows how to fit into a system.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And not
the team
letting go into
the team player 100%.
Understands what teamwork means.
Has the fitness, but will die for her teammates.
Yeah,
and there's nothing I want more than to see them qualify for their first games, right? I'm qualifying for my first, and I would love for them to get their chance too.
That's cool. That's awesome. What do you think kind of the dynamics of competing at the sanctional level? Does it feel a lot different on the floor competitively than it did at the regionals environment?
Well, here it feels very similar because it's the last chance. It is like regionals. You only had one shot to make it through. So, but I feel like there's still more pressure at regionals. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know.
For me personally, what I've missed from regionals was the standardization of regionals across every regional. It was these 6 or these 7 workouts, outdoor workouts. Everyone must perform to get through. It made it feel. I guess there is no word for it. Maybe there is a word for it. Like everyone was in it together. When you turn to regionals, it was bigger fields. It's hard to get 40 teams in most of these sectionals. But it was 40 teams. So you had a lot of heats to watch and a lot of atmosphere in the warm-up area, let alone in the stands. The teams were all this big group of people. And all around the world, everyone had either done the workout, or was going to do the same workout next week, or they're doing the workouts right now. If you get home from your region, you watch on the YouTube the next region starting.
Sure.
So there was this huge togetherness. The sanctionals feel kind of lonely, purely just compared to the regionals.
That's true.
I mean, the French is different again because it's the last one. Everyone's tuning in. It's the last chance for a lot of people. It's the last team spot that will go to the games. And so there is a bit more eyes on it. A lot of the sanctions felt kind of lonely, you were hanging out in your little area. No one watched the Australian one unless you're from Australia, for example. It's just missing that element, I think. But I think it could also just be the fact that it's different. Change always feels a bit scary.
I agree though, because there's only really at least the regionals the sanctionals we've been to. There's only maybe 20 max of 20 teams. So there's not that same point spread too, where sometimes there's those random teams that are really good at certain movements, and one workout they'll get in and shake up the top a little bit, or add some difference with the point spread.
The sanctionals are easier for it. You face up in a 1 or 2 horse, 2 or 3 horse race. Yeah, it's very common at all these sanctionals.
Yeah.
So right before you guys came out here, you're doing your last team meet. What advice did Mr. Rich Froning impart on you guys? What was his parting words to the Mayhem Independence team?
Literally, I think the last text
was, hey guys, I'm going to play football. If you guys want to come on, if we win, we're going to the championship.
If you guys want to come watch at 5 o'clock
Oh, you mean back in Tennessee?
Yeah, and he's like...
Yeah. Oh yeah, the last day before we left.
Yeah. Do you want us to cheer you on?
Rich arrived back from a mini anniversary trip with Hillary, and he pulls up, jumps in his truck. He's like, I got a game that's starting in 10 minutes, but it's half an hour away. If we win it, we're going to the Flag Football Championship in Tennessee. It's at 5 p.m. if you guys get bored.
We did see him Sunday.
But Hillary
we saw him again.
We got
that's
you. Yeah. We got some messages.
The real coach of Mayhem Independence, Hillary.
Big Rich, Hillary, and Rich.
The big boss.
Shoot us out.
But Rich just has high expectations, so you don't really hear a lot from him. But at the end of the day, yesterday he sent us a message, so that was pretty cool. So
the last text that Chase got right before we went out for that one that we weren't supposed to be good at was Rich just saying, "You guys got to crush this."
Yeah. And we didn't get it until we got done.
Yeah.
But it was the filter cake.
Then we got another message.
Yeah.
They've been following, which is nice.
I'm sure he has. What is he's running these really just kind of interesting characters and figures in sports in our sport because of just the pedestal that he's on. But you interact with him in person is very different. Training with him what kind of dynamic is that? Like, what is that like? Because I'm sure that most people, think of it as one thing, but when you're doing it every single day with a guy like Rich Roney, probably feels a lot different.
I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like every day, it's. Go ahead, Chase.
Yeah. Well, when I first started,
the longest.
yeah. Well, when I first started training with the team, a couple times a week, people would ask what it was like, and I was like, "Well, have you ever taken your shoes off and threw them in the dryer, and turned the dryer on, and I like just completely just keep beating and beating, and that's what it was like." But now I feel like we're kind of used to it, and like the volume that we do is nothing. Like today was like a kind of an easy day compared to a what's Richmond day.
Yeah, that's one of the really cool things about it is you do so much. Like you see a workout here at a competition and you feel like recovered actually when you're doing it. I mean, aside from the intensity that you take out there, but the volume is definitely much less. And like, I'm really excited for the final workout here because they haven't announced it yet. And every single day when we go up to the whiteboard, we don't know what we're gonna do. Like Rich just writes it up there. He kind of asks sometimes like if you're sore or whatever, like what we don't want to do, and usually just writes it up there anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited for that because like we know how to just kind of go with the flow and just like we like game plans, but at the same time we can just like create something out of nowhere and just go with it too. So
Rich is a really humble dude, so you never feel like you're not like you're not doing well around him. He'll never make you feel that way, sorry. But he's like training with any other like awesome training partner. He just always wins.
But he's
just
super
very,
humble,
very, very good.
and he would never make you feel bad. But through his
same
performance, you're like, wow, I really am not good at CrossFit.
He feels the same things. Like haven't had many a cathartic classic CrossFit workout debrief where you whinge about how much that sucked, and he feels it just as much as the next person. He's just 3 or 4 minutes faster than your time in a 3 or 4 minute workout.
I know he'll never go individual. I've talked to him about it before, and he's made it very clear. And that's he's done what he's done in the sport, and that's fantastic. But do you ever like watch him doing and competing? And you're like, man, he's so savage. Like
every day, he's amazing.
Every day,
yeah. Every single workout. Yeah.
I think people think he's not individual because he doesn't have the edge, but that's not the truth.
So you're telling me still like he'll turn it on if one of you guys is coming up on his heels?
He will not let you win a workout.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. He will not.
Even if no one's close to his time, he'll still just send it for the sake of
drives the dagger home.
Yeah, he won't like just mail in a workout. So he's probably fitter than he was a couple years ago.
He's so fit.
I think it's his performance across the board and the dynamic. Like how dynamic an athlete has to be today to be competitive at the games and sanctional level. Clearly, he is.
Yeah, 2019 Rich would beat 2014 Rich in every workout.
You're right, in every workout.
And it'd be night and day in the workouts that he used to be bad at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's filled in every hole he ever had as an individual. I think.
Oh yeah,
based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
He's impressive to watch. He's really fun to watch. Carolyn, I want to ask you a question just because this is going to be your first time going to CrossFit Games. You're an individual athlete, and that's got to feel like amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was when that finally happened? You've been training for this for a really long time? What was that kind of response that you had?
Well, I qualified through the Open, so the feeling wasn't the same. Like I always envisioned qualifying, being on the floor, hearing my name, and then kind of just like being all pumped. Like you just see the people, and you're like, I want to be that person getting that name announced. So it wasn't the same getting it through an email. But at the same time, it's something I've worked hard for the last few years. And then once I learned in 2016 that it was in Madison, Wisconsin, where I went to school and graduated from, that kind of was a turning point for me in my CrossFit career. And since that day at the Invitational, it's been my goal to get to Madison, and I've been just creeping up every year. So it's super exciting to go back to the university through a different sport now. And get that experience that I've been working for.
So I don't want to assume, but it seems like you're planning, regardless of what happens this weekend, you're still planning on competing as an individual. Is that a decision you've made yet?
Yeah, we kind of briefly talked about that last night. I don't know what CrossFit will do for changes next year. I think if you have a chance to go as an individual at least once, I think you go for it.
sure.
Obviously, I'd love to be part of this team, and like I said, I want them to qualify more than anything. Like, I don't have the pressure that I'm going to the games, but I feel a lot of pressure being on the team, trying to send them to the games. But yeah, so I think it's exciting. I want my experience to be the first one, and then same with
So what's like one thing, you've been watching the games for a long time, you've been right there, really close. What is one thing that you're like, I'm definitely looking forward to this, and one thing I'm definitely not looking forward to?
Paddleboarding.
I like paddleboarding. That was fun.
So good.
Most of my sports were anaerobic power sports, soccer, hockey, taekwondo. Anything that's lower body, I usually excel at. Pistols, box jumps. That's 7 tomorrow. Squat
She's just
cleans.
gonna do all the work.
I like that stuff. I still have some work on to do for Olympic lifting. So snatching and jerks. I'm getting better over the years, but the girls are just beasts. I'm just not getting the numbers that they are at the rate that they are. So I need to continue to work on that, as well as strict gymnastics. Everything's getting better, but obviously I'm trying to compare myself, to the best in the world, and everyone has their holes, and I'm trying to fill those.
Okay. So what about the sort of like 30 minutes before the workout's announced, here it is, dynamic of the games? Does that excite you, or is there a little trepidation?
No, I find like I know myself as an athlete. I know where my strengths are. I know where my weaknesses are. I know how to attack workouts. I think that comes with experience. So learning a workout right away, I grew up like in CrossFit. Not really grew up, but like my coach, we did that a lot. Like just similar to what you guys do with Rich, and just kind of program weekly and then change stuff up naturally. So I think that I'm used to that, and I can game plan on the spot. I think that's cool to not know about the workout ahead of time.
I prefer it.
All right, so I think you guys are right now, we'll release this tonight, but you guys are probably neck and neck with Invictus Boston.
There's 2 points in it.
2 points, which is the difference of one person getting first place the next event and another getting second place because of the way the point spread works.
It's actually 1/5 of that. It's 10 points.
10 points.
So placing. So 2 points is almost.
You guys seem to be trading ones and twos back and forth.
Yeah.
And so what's the game plan tomorrow? How are you guys going to tackle the next couple events?
Game plan is the
Same
game
thing.
plan.
Stay in our lane.
The
Yeah.
game plan is to stick with the game
Just
plan.
do what we know we can do, and just do our best, and don't worry about what everyone else is doing, and let the
Chips fall in there.
Yeah, exactly.
What Caroline said, just we know what we're good at, and we push hard on that, like on the right pace to finish the workout with the best time. If their best time is better than ours, then they win. If their best time is better than theirs, then we win. It's like I said before, it's the whole gaminess of like panicking because someone's overtaking you and trying to get 4 people to turn it on at the same time. It's messy. Like an individual can make that decision, pull out the hero move, and maybe you win, maybe you don't. But with the team,
Exactly.
With the team, it's more about once again, if you're referencing Rich, it's about he with all his team, with all freedom stuff, they rarely start a workout first, but they always finish it. It's just that, like we did last night, which was Friday night, which is what we need to do with tomorrow's events.
Yep.
Do our pace, and if it's good enough, it's good enough. If it's not, it's not. But that's the point.
Usually we can inch our way through at the very end when it counts.
Not panicking and trying to change it up.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.